What I learned from my daughter-in-law's brutal insult. The insult didn't come as a whisper. It came like a slap, sharp, echoing, and loud enough that even the clinking dishes in the sink seemed to pause to listen. "If I ever turn out like her, just put me in a home," my daughter-in-law said. And her, in that moment, wasn't some distant stranger. It was me. I stood frozen in the hallway, clutching the laundry basket to my chest like a shield. My heart thudded so hard I could hear it in my ears. I hadn't meant to eavesdrop. I had just gone to bring some freshly folded towels to the guest room. But the universe has a cruel sense of timing. "She's so controlling," my daughter-in-law continued, her voice thick with frustration. "Always acting like she knows everything. I swear sometimes she talks to me like I'm a child." My son hummed awkwardly. "She means well." "Meaning well isn't the same as being kind," she replied. I didn't stay to hear the rest. I quietly stepped back, placed the basket on the floor, and went into my room before the tears could betray me. Because the truth was, she wasn't entirely wrong. Chapter 1: The Mother Who Meant Well. When my son married Aisha, I promised myself I would be the good mother-in-law, the one who supported quietly, helped when asked, and never interfered. But old habits cling like shadows. I had raised my son alone after his father died young. Every decision, every scraped knee, every exam score, I hovered through it all, not because I wanted control, but because I was terrified of losing what little I had left. So when Aisha entered the picture, I didn't realize how deeply I still clung to my role as the caretaker. "If you keep the fridge door open like that, it wastes energy," I'd say lightly. "Lord, I wouldn't feed the baby now, he'll get used to constant soothing." "Lord, maybe don't wash whites with colors." All harmless suggestions, I told myself. Just guidance. But guidance can feel like judgment to the one receiving it. And slowly, brick by brick, I built a wall of unspoken resentment between us. Aisha smiled politely. She thanked me. But politeness can be a mask, and I never noticed the cracks. Chapter 2: The Breaking Point. The insult came on a Sunday afternoon after lunch. We'd all eaten together, curries and rice and laughter floating lazily through the living room. Or at least what I thought was laughter. Inside, Aisha was exhausted. I could see it in her eyes, the kind of weariness that even sleep couldn't fix. Being a new mother was heavy enough, and having a constant critic, even a gentle one, must have felt like another weight pressing down. Still, her words replayed in my head like a broken record. Controlling. Overbearing. Kindness is not the same as meaning well. I didn't leave my room for the rest of the day. The house noises faded into a dull hum. I stared at the ceiling and wondered when loving someone had become synonymous with smothering them. At dinner, I didn't correct anyone. I didn't advise. I didn't guide. I was silent. And silence, it turns out, can say more than words. Chapter 3: The Conversation I Didn't Want to Have. The next morning, I asked Aisha if we could talk. Her shoulders tensed, just enough for me to notice. We sat at the dining table, the early light painting soft gold streaks across the wood. I wrapped my hands around a mug of tea, more for courage than warmth. "I heard what you said yesterday," I began softly. Her eyes widened. Colour drained from her face. "I'm so sorry," she rushed to say, mortified. "I never meant for you to. I was upset and tired and—" I lifted a hand gently. "It hurt," I said honestly, "but it also made me think." She swallowed. "I never wanted to make you feel unwelcome," she whispered. "You've done so much for us, but sometimes I feel like I can't breathe, like every move I make is being graded, and I already struggle enough with feeling like I'm failing." Her voice cracked on the last word. That was when I saw it, not disrespect, not cruelty, but vulnerability. Fear, pressure, the weight of new motherhood. And perhaps the shadow of another woman constantly hovering nearby. I felt small. Not in a defeated way, but in a humbled way. Because for the first time, I saw myself not as the mother who meant well, but as the mother-in-law who unintentionally made someone feel like less. "I'm sorry," I said quietly. "I didn't realize my help felt like control. I thought I was being useful." She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. And I'm sorry, she replied. I should have spoken to you instead of bottling it up until it came out ugly. We both laughed softly, the sad yet healing kind of laugh. And suddenly, the air between us felt less heavy. Chapter 4: Learning to Let Go. Change doesn't arrive all at once. It comes in tiny, awkward adjustments. Like biting back the urge to say, you should add more salt, and instead asking, how can I help? Or replacing, you shouldn't do it that way, with, what feels easiest for you. Letting go wasn't easy. Motherhood trains you to predict, correct, and prevent, but sons grow, they marry. They build lives with new women who love them just differently. And I realized something powerful. My role was no longer to protect my son. It was to support his family without overshadowing it. Slowly, Aisha relaxed around me. She started laughing more. She began asking for my advice, not because she had to listen, but because now it felt like a choice. And advice freely asked is worth more than advice forcefully given. One evening, as she rocked the baby to sleep, she whispered, you know, I do want to be like you one day. I blinked back unexpected tears. What do you mean? You're strong, she said. You survived losing your husband. You raised a good man. You love deeply, even when it's messy. That night, I cried quietly in my room. Not from pain, but from release. Chapter 5: The Unexpected Gift. Months passed. The baby grew. Our relationship did too, not as an obligatory arrangement between two women linked by a man, but as friends. One afternoon, Aisha came into the kitchen holding a small wrapped box. What's this? I asked. Just open it. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet with a tiny charm shaped like a heart. On the back was engraved, "Thank you for learning with me." I traced the letters with trembling fingers. Because growth, real growth, is rarely loud or dramatic. It happens in hushed apologies, in uncomfortable conversations, in choosing humility over ego, and in understanding that sometimes love must loosen its grip to hold on better. Moral of the story: sometimes the hardest truths come wrapped in painful words, but if we listen with humility instead of pride, those truths can become the beginning of healing, not the end of a relationship. Meaning well is not enough. Kindness requires understanding, respect, and the willingness to change. And often, the greatest strength we can show is not in holding on, but in letting go with grace.